So let's move ahead to the next question. What are events and what's the difference between delegates and events? Now before we go ahead and we talk about events, let's first talk about multicast delegates, which we discussed in our previous question. There are certain drawbacks which multicast delegates have in certain situations. So what we'll do is that first we'll talk about those drawbacks, and then we will try to understand that how events solve those drawbacks, because event solves one of the biggest problem which is related to delegates, and that is encapsulation. So what we'll do is that first we'll try to understand the problem which is associated with multicast delegate, and then we will try to understand what is the event and how we can solve that problem using events. In our previous example of multicast delegate, the subscribers had no choice of choosing whether they are interested in the event or not. Why? Because the attaching of the method with the delegate was in form 1. It was in the main parent form. Now definitely when we talk about publisher subscriber model, we would like that the subscriber should have the authority, or they should be able to decide that they are interested in the event or not. So this code of attaching the delegate, the method with the delegate, should be present in form 2 and form 3 and not in form 1. So what we have done is basically we have changed the code in order to give more authority to the subscribers, that if they are interested in the event they can subscribe. If not, then that's absolutely fine. So what we have done is we have created the object of form 2 and form 3 in form 1, and we have passed the object of form 1 to form 2 and form 3 through a property, and then in form 3 basically we are attaching the method with the delegate. So you can see that in the form 3, in the form load, we have attached the call me method which is present in the in form 3. We are attaching it to the delegate which is exposed by form 1. So in the same way you can see that in form 2 also the method is attached with the delegate. So now over here the subscriber has authority, or the subscriber has more control, that it wants to attach to the event. Is it, in case if he is not interested in attaching to the event, he can just avoid if possible. So what is the problem? I'm going to say we said that in multicast delegates the subscriber don't have control, and now we have a code here where the subscriber also have control. The problem with this approach is that the subscriber now has too much control. In other words, because we have exposed a delegate, the subscriber can go and call any kind of method on the delegate. So in other words, it can go and attach a method, it can make this delegate null, it can go and invoke it. So in other words, what has happened is the subscriber has now a complete control over the delegate, which we don't want. What we want is, okay, the subscriber should have the control to just say that he is interested in the event or not, but he should not have control that he can go ahead and start changing the delegate. So in other words, I don't want him to invoke the delegate. That is going to be done by the parent, that is my form 1. I don't want him to go and attach some method over here. So in other words, what has happened is, by exposing the delegate to the subscribers now have more authority, or in other words, there is no encapsulation at all on the delegate. So what can we do for this, or how can we solve this problem? This problem is solved by using events. So the same code, what we'll do is that we'll declare the multicast delegate as an event. So in order to declare it as an event, you have to say event keyword. So you first declare the delegate. That process is absolutely same. The second thing is you actually declare the reference or the object of the delegate as an event. So I put the event as a keyword, and you don't need to call the dot invoke method. You actually need to just raise the event. So you can see that over here from the parent I am saying that raise the event obj event call everyone. Now if you go to form 2 and form 3, we'll find that you cannot invoke this function. You cannot change this function. You can only listen to this function. So in other words, what has happened is event now sits on the top of delegates and encapsulates it, because when we expose a delegate to a client or to a subscriber, what was happening is basically the client was having too much control on the delegate, but now what has happened is basically over here the client can only listen. So in events, when you declare an event, the clients can only listen. Okay, there is high level of encapsulation. While when you declare a delegate, when you pass the delegate to someone, the client can change the delegate, the client can invoke the delegate, the client can make the delegate null. So there is too much control given to the client. So what's the difference between events and delegates? Events is a higher level of encapsulation over delegates. In other words, the time you declare events, the client or the subscriber can only listen to the events. He cannot do anything more than that. But the time you declare a delegate, that means you are giving a lot of control to the end client or to the end subscriber. So here's my form 1, and I've raised my my event, and here's my form 3, where basically I've attached saying that I'm interested in this event. Now let's go and run. So here's the image which basically describes the differentiation between delegates and events in a more better format. So you can see that from the source, when we pass a delegate, it's naked, so the destination can basically add and remove and have full control over the delegates. But the time when we pass the delegate as an event, when we pass the delegate as an event, the destination or the client or the subscriber can only listen. So in other words, events is a higher level of encapsulation over. So here's a sample which is running now. So you can see that from form 1, I am basically sending broadcast messages using events to form 2 and form 3. So in this tutorial, what we have done, we have first we tried to understand what was the problem associated with multicast delegate. After that, we tried to solve that problem using events, and then finally we saw that what exactly events are. So I hope that this session was useful. In the coming session, in the coming question, what we'll do is that we'll try to understand asynchronous method calls using delegates. So that will end our delegates and events question and answer videos. Thank you very much.